your best. Very good. So how does that benefit us to always do our best? Well, it benefits us two ways, especially that come to my mind metaphysically. The first way is the satisfaction in knowing that you have accomplished something to the best of your ability. Whether you have accomplished it and completed it successfully or not doesn't matter. You see, it's just that you have done the very best that you can do, and you're satisfied with the fact that you have given it all that you possibly can. And that is huge, because then what it does is it completely negates any regret or any remorsefulness or any doubt in our mind moving forward and saying, oh, I should have given it more. I should have applied myself better. I should have spent more time. I should, you won't have any shouldas going forward. The shouldas will be gone, which is huge, because then you live in the now and you can move forward, as opposed to looking back, which we should be doing. But if we're working in vibration with that, then we'll be doing the very best that we can do in just about everything that we do. Now, applying doing the best that we can do also has an awful lot to do with us and doing the best that we can do. We have to make ourselves a competent tool for doing the best that we can do, which means that we need to be mindful of what is our best, right? We have to know what is the best that we can do. Are we actually doing the best that we can do with the tools that we have, the skill set that we have, the mindfulness that we apply? And if we're honing ourselves and being our best version of us, then we're going to do the best that we can do without even having to really think about it. Because we'll be living constantly in a mindful state. You know, it's a lot like the idea of prayer. You know, we say pray incessantly. So do you walk around mumbling under your breath a prayer? No. You don't have to do that. Praying incessantly, I know you want to be on that camera, Finn. He's a movie star. So we say pray incessantly. Praying incessantly doesn't mean that we walk around mumbling under our breath, saying prayers all the time. But what we do is we put ourselves in a prayerful state of mind. It's the same with doing our best. We are in a best version of ourselves state of mind. So of course we're going to do our best. So when is it hardest to do that? When is it hardest to do your best?
When you're emotional.
When you're emotional. When you're not removed from yourself a little bit. When you're not the observer that you should be. Right? When you're caught up in your own ego, for lack of a better word. I did this just recently. Someone asked me to do them a favor, and I was like, at a very inopportune time. And I was like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? It really put me out. And I got caught and tripped up in my own feet, caught in my own ego for a minute there. And after a couple of minutes of playing it out in my head, because this is what should be going on with us. When we come across these situations, we should be doing this. Having that conversation with ourselves. Am I applying my best? Is this my best? That's my best, really? Because that's not how I'd like to see me at my best.
I get that way.
Yeah. We all get that way. That's what the lessons are for us to practice applying them, practicing them.
I'm still working on the first one.
Okay.
Impeccable with
So then what do? We go, all right, this is not my best me. So how do I apply my best me? Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it's inopportune. Yes, it's a pain in the ass. So what do? I do what I can, right? Out of compassion and the generosity of your heart. That is your best you. That doesn't mean that you're going to be able to do what the person asked you to do, maybe. But you can do something. You can do something.
Even if you just make it for tomorrow.
That's right.
Figure it out.
Or just wait.
Figure it out.
Shelve it. Go back to it. And apply yourself to it. We want to be aware that we're not alone. So, if we're connected we say we are, right? We're all connected to each other. We're the pebble in the pond. There's no getting around it. And I don't apply myself to those kinds of situations that are inconvenient. What are the chances that somebody else is going to apply their most authentic self and do their best for me when I ask them to do something for me?
That's right.
Or if I'm going to have my toilet fixed and I call the plumber and he shows up and he's like, yeah, well, that's the best I can do. And he leaves. And then I'm mad because my toilet still doesn't work. Whose fault is that? Is it really the plumber's fault?
No, it's your
No, it's your own fault.
Yep.
It's your own fault. You have set the wheels in motion, you see? You have already put the intention out there. Your behaviors, your thoughts, your mindfulness, your application of that is what creates the reality around you. That's why we have to do our best. Doesn't have to be right this second, like Suzanne said. She knows me, I'm a little OCD. I want something done yesterday. I'm a time traveler.
Okay, I'm ADHD.
So those kinds of things, we need to be aware of that. And surround yourself with people that are going to help you to do your best. Right? You're going to get people that are going to be your cheerleaders. People that are going to encourage you, empower you, root for you. Don't look for people that are going to undermine you. And I'm not saying cut off relationships with people, because we don't do that. We don't throw people away. People are not disposable. But we can move ourselves a little bit away from situations that aren't in our best interest and for our best and highest good spiritually.
Here, here.
Allow those people to go and explore their journey, and eventually these people, because none of us are strangers, right? So they eventually come back into your life.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, they'll figure it out, and then you'll figure it out. And how wonderful is that when you have a meeting of minds, and it's all good, and now you're both moving in the same direction because you did the best you could do. Talking bad about people, undermining people, stealing people's joy, that's not the best you. That's not the best you can do. I know that, because I know all of you, and I know all of you are loving, kind people. So how hard is it?
It's hard.
It's hard. Because it takes, again, all 4 of these agreements take a lot of self-analysis. So I wanted to complete this lesson on our 4 agreements by just going over the first agreement again. So what's the first agreement?
Be impeccable with your
Be
word.
impeccable with your word. How is that sounded down into any scriptural text? Real simple. Real simple. Make your yes mean yes and your no mean no. That's the most basic, right?
Bible wire.
If you say you're going to do something, do it. Be compassionate, be kind, so you're going to be impeccable to yourself. So all of these scriptural ideologies are wrapped up. This is not a new idea. This is ancient knowledge, totemic knowledge, the 4 agreements. But it is also shared with other ideologies. That's why we so embrace ancient scripture and ancient knowledge of all different kinds, because they are the same. They are the same. Second of the 4 agreements.
Don't take anything personally.
Don't take anything personally. It's not about you. This is selflessness. This is not being thin-skinned. This is about putting others before yourself. Sound familiar?
Yes.
Yeah. Ancient knowledge says that this is how we live, from the inside out and not from the outside in. Third of the 4 agreements. Come on, I know you can do it.
I wasn't here for that one.
Agree?
Don't assume anything.
Don't assume, right? Don't make assumptions, because we want to empower ourselves and we want to empower others to communicate. To communicate. To communicate. It's no small thing, because we don't do that in our society. What do? We talk at each other.
We're bottling it up, one with 2.
We talk at each other. We're not listening with an open heart to each other when we talk. I heard what you said this, but that's not what they meant. You know that's not what they meant. Listen to what the intentions of somebody's heart is. Speak from your heart. Be mindful about your words, right? Let your words be seasoned with salt. Speak with the tongue of a taught one. Okay? Ancient knowledge reveals itself. And the fourth of our 4 agreements,
Do your best.
do your best. So, how does that apply to the other 3 agreements? We're going to do our best to apply the other 3 agreements, right?
Yes.
So this has been a wonderful opportunity to share this knowledge with you guys. If you have not read the book, please read the book. It's a wonderful well of information, and it will help you to really do some insightful analysis of your own behaviors, your actions, your thoughts, and how to apply yourself in your life to benefit yourself. That's what wisdom is for. Spiritual knowledge is for what? Does it help the universe to be a better
Yeah, to
place?
help
No,
everybody
it's to
else.
help you to fit into the universe in a way that is profound and useful, meaningful, productive, happy, healthy, joyful. That's what it's about. So if it's not working for you, if that's not happening for you, if you're not leaving church feeling like this, yes,
Yeah, it's not a church.
then you need to go someplace else and find something else to do, for real.
I have a quick question. When you were talking about praying ceaselessly or the praying, keep praying incessantly. Do you mean like in a terminology of science, like alpha? You stay in an alpha state?
No, not necessarily.
I was trying to get
be
into my mind,
to
or
be
just
in
the
a
intent.
mindful state of awareness and
Okay,
awakeness.
in the intent.
So you're in the intention
Okay.
of giving and receiving constantly on
Okay.
every level, on this level, on a spiritual level, on a vibrational level.
Okay.
That's
That means you can't be ADD
yes.
anymore.
Yeah,
You
I'll
can't
try
be
not
ADD.
to.
We give it up. We
You
give
all
it to
get-
God.
you
We're
got
healed.
it.
Yes.
We all get babysitted every once in a while.
Joel?
I have a question.
Sure.
If we're always to do our best, and we're ever adapting,
Yep.
Yes.
then our best is always growing.
Our best is always growing.
That's
So
awesome.
Because that's what it means to be an evolved, awakened person.
So the thing
That's
is
not a
that
question, that's a
always
statement.
That's good.
that-
That's actually good.
That's an enlightened statement, actually.
That was awesome.
That is awesome. And it's true.
Yeah.
And you should be growing. And that's a good gauge for ourselves. So are we growing spiritually? Are we learning more? Are we becoming more sensitive? Are we becoming more awakened? More compassionate?
As long as you're alive, you should always be mindful.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and if you're always mindful, then you're always going to be mindful of how you feel and how you treat other people. And if you speak impeccably with your words, you're always going to communicate impeccably with
Right.
somebody else. But you're always going to be impeccably true to yourself because it's who you are, because you're mindful
Right.
at all times.
That is correct.
You know, and if you don't know how to handle something, that's when you go into prayer
Right.
and become mindful.
That's right. That's exactly correct. So if we're practicing these 4 agreements, and practice, of course, makes better. You know, we get better and better as we practice these things. And we evolve, as Joel pointed out, we evolve spiritually. We become stronger, more mature spiritual people, which is important. Then our life should be reflecting that. You know, our life should be reflecting that. You should be the stillness in the storm. Yes.
I was going to say something when I'm going through, like, I have people picking on me at work, the 3 higher ups. I'm a caregiver, and they're saying bad things about me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing the best I can with my patients that I'm working with. And every day, there's something that they tell me that when I say that I think I'm doing, say I'm taking care of you, and I'm giving you your bath and all this stuff, and I say, I think I did a good job with you today. That is your problem, Deborah, because you think you're doing right. And I have to always think to myself, keep on telling myself, I think I'm doing right, and they're saying I'm doing wrong because they're seeing money signs in their face instead of the caring of the person. That I have to forgive them, and it's so hard. And I have to keep on saying, God, give me strength to keep on doing what I think I know I'm doing right.
What you should do is sit down with them and speak impeccably with your words, how you feel, and what it is that they want from you. You have to be able to become your observer and see from your point of view, but also from their point of view, to get that middle ground where the interaction
resolution, a clear resolution, yeah.
Just as a sample, just the other day, you see, you know, my leg problem, and I had to get a new pair of shoes. And they asked me, how was my new shoe working out? I said, I still feel like I'm walking on nails. So I said, when I got my new shoe, I started crying because I hadn't looked at my legs lately to see how bad my bad leg has gotten. It's gotten so much smaller because the bones of my legs are corroding and it's got full of arthritis now with my age and everything. So I said, a very special lady through my years have bought me these shoes to try to help me for the insole. These are not the ones I took. I'm not wearing those today. So they asked me, what? You don't take showers? This is an administrator, a director of nursing, and a human resource lady. All the top dogs, if I have to say dogs, in my building where I work at.
Who do you work
So what am I supposed to do?
Well, this is the thing. The main thing that we teach people is that we live from the inside out, right? So really, we can't control other people. Period. You can't control your boss. You can't control your kids. You can't control your mom. You can't control your brothers and sisters. You can't control anybody. You can't. But who can you control? You. Yeah, you can control you. So if you're prayerful, you're mindful, you're meditating, you're taking care of yourself, you're making sure that you're healed, you know, that you're balancing yourself, being compassionate. Who the heck knows what goes through someone else's mind when they're mean to you? You know, someone could have been mean to them, and most often that is the case. Someone was mean to them, and it's a trickle-down effect. You know, someone's mean to them, then they're mean to you, and then oftentimes what happens is we catch ourselves being mean to somebody else. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to buy into that whole drama of the situation. And don't respond. You know, if you don't have a positive, upbuilding, uplifting response, and you're feeling victimized, change that. You don't have to be the victim. It's their problem. As long as you're doing what you should be doing, and you're listening, and you're communicating, and trying to resolve issues, you're being mature, that's all you can do. Emotionally remove yourself from the situation. This is the annihilation of self. This is becoming the observer. That's how we deal with overwhelming emotional situations.
Keep on praying about it.
And pray for them. Pray for them. Not for you. Pray for them.
Yeah.
I have a question because I have a kind of a similar situation where my grandchildren's other grandmother, when she uses your words against you, and I really have a hard time. I've been dealing with this for like 27 years, and you say a simple thing, not even to her, to someone else in the family, and she twists it all around, and I realize that I have to deal with myself and not with her, but there's things that we have to do together. You know, I mean, we talk,
Right.
and we're friendly to each other, but there's always that chance that she's going to take one little thing that you said, and it's going to be totally blown out of proportion, and it's going to go through the whole family.
And this similar situation is exactly true because it's really about her.
Yeah.
And if she's doing it to you, guess what?
She's doing it to
She's
everybody.
doing it to everybody else
Yes.
too.
Oh,
So
no,
they're
I know
aware
that.
that it has nothing to do with you, that it has to do with her. So what you do is you just allow it to be.
She always makes, and I shouldn't say the word always, but
Often.
she makes you look like crap, and she comes out smelling like roses.
But she doesn't really. She
Yes,
thinks
she
she does. She sets up the scenario so that's the case. But the reality is that everybody sees what's going on because they've been the victim of a similar circumstance with her. So the reality is that she feels insecure and uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and
and
the only
that's
way
why
that
she has to put
she
herself
feels
over
better
people.
is by putting,
Yeah,
So
she
we
can't
can
put
intellectualize this.
Yeah.
We understand why people do the things that they do. It's a
Right.
simple thing. But really we need to emotionally remove ourselves from the situation so that we don't give in the response that is being fished for. Because that's what
Right.
happens. People are casting the
Yeah,
word
don't-
out,
don't
and then
play the game.
you, like a
Yeah,
fish, are
right.
biting
Right.
on the line and then having to wiggle along to get free. You know, so don't.
No,
I'm not playing.
I don't play the
You
game,
say,
but
you
I
say
want
just
to
the
pick
opposite
she's
of
doing.
what the intention is set.
Yeah.
And remove yourself
And
from
she
the
knows
situation.
who she can get to the most.
Oh, sure. People that you're connected to
Yeah.
emotionally, that are closest to you, know how to hurt you best. Max, Reverend Max?
First thing about getting rid of drama is not getting involved.
Move
The
yourself.
second
Not
thing
playing
is,
the game.
what comes out of your mouth tends to be your life. If you say she makes you feel bad,
Yeah, I know.
she does not have that
No, she doesn't
capability.
have that power over
control
you.
So
over
when
me.
you
I don't realize.
relay, when
Did
you,
I say she makes me mad?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So
that's
the
not
thing
true.
is when we
I-
start vocalizing
I
that we
feel-
are the ones that are victimized, then you become the victim.
Right, we are putting
So
ourselves in
if
that
you
position.
play into
Yes,
the game,
I'm not.
whose fault is it?
Yes, it's my fault because I let
Yeah,
her.
but you can't
Yeah.
condemn yourself for it. That's
No,
the third
no, it's an
thing.
awareness. That's the other
Yes.
thing. This
That's
isn't
being
about,
aware.
this is your fault. This is,
No.
oh wow, yeah, I have the key to
Always-
my own cell here.
Always speak about yourself in the positive.
Be self-aware.
See,
Yes.
if you notice the two comments, these ladies,
Mhm.
what happens is sometimes we get so inside, the only thing we can see is self.
Mm-hmm.
You have to remember, you have Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit that created the entire universe. So what earthly power can stand against you? None.
1,000 to the right,
And
10,000 to the
your words create your reality, create a better reality. If you insist that she's your friend and supports you, after a while she's going to start doing that. A good thing to do is called neuro-linguistic programming. When you talk to that person, mimic everything they do, and then after a while, control what they do. It's subconscious behavior,
Yeah.
and you get to change things around. But basically, you have a right not to put up with negative dialogue.
Yeah,
So you have to change it.
Right.
I tried 20-something years ago to let her know how I felt about what was happening.
Well, let me give you some
But
advice.
she
Never
just-
let other people know advice. You tell them what the reality is, and then you make that reality. Whether they like it or not is not the issue. Whether you can be free from their negative dialogue is. And you can control that.
Yeah, and a simple way of doing that, this sounds silly, but oftentimes someone will say something to you, and I have someone in my life that I have a very confrontational relationship with, and I look at them and I go, I love you.
That's all you can do.
Oh, not saying
And you know
that
what
to her.
happens?
Yes,
You know what
you
has
should.
happened? That person now responds to me exactly that way. I love you too. And there's less combativeness
She would-
because
she
there's
would
not
use that.
room. And I understand maybe not that.
Oh, please,
But you know what?
let somebody use love against me. Yes. Yes, go ahead.
It is
Use
a weapon that
love.
cannot be defeated. But
That's right.
and it's a funny thing. I mean, it really does work when when someone's being mean to you and you're kind to them.
Right.
They're taken aback.
Oh, well,
they're
some-
shocked. How
Yeah.
could you be nice after I was just mean to you? Because that's where we are. That's who we are. That's what we're made of.
Love is always
So
the avenue
it's always
of power.
the best choice.
Here's your first numerological lesson. Love adds up to 3, 6, and 9, and there's no numbers higher, and it's a ladder to the highest aspect of that. When you use the word love, there's just saying it can't be defeated.
From a channel point of view, okay, because I'm a channel.
Yes,
I have
you
a
are.
person, I have a family member who's extremely negative and always turns everything negative and loves to talk about other family members,
Right.
okay? So every time she does that with me, I channel her negative energy that she does this with, and you can't say anything back to her because if you do, then she uses it against you with another family member, right?
Right, now I've
Okay,
learned.
This is kind of like a similar thing.
Yeah, I've
So
learned
instead
how
of
to
what
do
I
that.
do is I'm yeah, and I'm letting that negative energy go out. anytime you let negative energy go out, you have to replace it with love. So I allow that negative energy to go out, and I'm imagining positive energy going back without telling her,
Right, oh, yeah.
without saying a word to her.
I understand
I'm
all
allowing
that
this.
perfectly.
I'm allowing this to happen. But what happens
That is
is,
right.
is in the process of doing that, the conversation changes to her skiing trip and how much fun she had on her skiing trip. The magic part of this all is that as you're doing that, as you're imagining this, as you're allowing this to happen, as you're letting this negative energy go, you're not taking it in here.
Right.
You're separating yourself from this negative energy, and you're letting all this negative energy go. And you're hearing all this, but you're separating yourself from that negative energy, and you're feeding all this positive energy back here, and you're just going, yes, and you're feeding all this positive energy. All of a sudden, they're talking about something they like,
Right.
baking a cake,
And
doing all this positive stuff. And at the end of
I
the
have-
conversation,
I have done that.
you go, you're sitting on the other end of the phone going, what just happened? They all of a sudden they got positive, and they had a positive conversation. They don't know what happened.
Yeah.
They don't even know what
My
happened.
big problem is the fact they're not little anymore, but my stepchildren. She would hurt them over and over, mentally, over and over again, and I tried to confront her
But
and
you
say, you know,
can't-
this really hurts. The kids are 6 and 10 years old.
They're 6 and 10 years old now?
No,
Oh, okay.
but they were. They're grown.
Yeah.
They're grown-ups now. But it's just gotten worse because now we have grandchildren together. You know, and she's doing the same thing.
Arguing
You know, you
with
promise
negative
these
people
kids
is
things.
like teaching a pig to sing.
Yeah.
It annoys the pig and it makes the teacher look stupid.
Yeah.
Don't argue with stupid people.
I like that. I like that one. I like
You just
that
can't
one.
fix
It just hurts me so much when she uses
it. Stop it.
the kids
Stop
to.
it.
All you can do is be positive with the kids
Right.
and teach the kids, you know, these kinds of tools.
Because sooner or
Right.
later,
And not
kids
to
are
take
gonna come
things
back to you and go,
personally.
guess what? You know what? This
Well,
person's stupid.
Yeah, and people are
Yeah,
going
you
to
go
say
back
and
things to you.
say,
And
yes, I
as
know.
adults, they both have come to me and said, I was always a better mother to them than their
Well, that should be
biological
satisfying
mother.
to you.
Yeah,
Isn't
but
that
it's-
lovely?
You get bragging rights.
Yes.
But it
Yeah.
hurts. It hurts
No,
so much
don't-
to see
don't let it
them
hurt
do
you.
that.
Don't let it
to
hurt
the
you.
little
But
ones.
you don't want to block them from
You
their
know?
lessons.
You know what? Because look at what has happened now. You just said that the children that were young now are older, and they've come to you and said, you were so good to us, we love you, it was one.
Yeah.
You know what? So
So
that's
they
all you
shook it
can
off.
do. You can't control other people. You
Yeah.
can't control other people, but you can do you.
Right.
That's what you can do. You can be your best,
They
loving
shook it
self.
off. They didn't pay attention
that's
to what
right.
the other one did.
And
They
it may
paid
have hurt
attention to
them,
you.
but you know
More
what?
true.
Something's
Yes.
gonna hurt us. In our journey, we're gonna get hurt. We're gonna get
Yes.
bruised. We're gonna get battered. We can't do anything about that. All we can do is use the tools that we have to heal ourselves and to overcome those personal and emotional challenges that we're faced with, and teach our children the same things. Because that's gonna happen. You know, you can be walking down the street and somebody walk up to you and say something horrendous to you. I've actually had that happen. You know, it's hurtful. It stays in your mind if you nurture it and feed it. It can
Yeah.
become debilitating, but we don't. We let that go. We don't take it
Yeah.
personally.
The only real tool
Yeah.
that we have as parents or grandparents that we really have is domestic violence.
Yeah.
And if there's domestic violence going on in there,
Yeah.
as a
Then you
grandparent,
have to
parent,
take
we have to
a
get- we have to
different
get
kind
the
of
state
stance on
involved.
Oh, yes.
When we have a
I wouldn't need to stay when he comes to that. Beat that son of a
You'd be
bitch to
killing
death. He
people.
touched my kid. Sorry. I
Pam, did
apologize.
you have
I heard
something
you.
you wanted to share?
That wasn't you, Mike.
Just
My
two things.
daughter just said,
No
she said,
offense.
for what she just did to one of the grandkids, my daughter says, I want to go over there and just punch her in the face. And I says, she's not worth it.
Yeah, that's not
You'll
going to
get
change the
arrested,
situation.
and then
Yeah,
you'll
it's
be
going to
in
make it
horrible
worse.
trouble.
Right.
Please
You know?
forgive me. I'm
If it's
sorry.
on that
Yeah,
level.
I
I
know
get
you
it.
well
Because of
enough
my
to
kids,
know.
I
I
get
need
very
to gag
bad.
you when we're filming.
And you can click what you want, but just be mindful of the art of intention and
I mean,
allowing.
How much-
Is even,
how much should
you're
we
not
do
going to be able to
protect you?
change that overnight,
I agree.
but in
Right.
every situation, starting to think, you know, well,
she didn't like totally say I was all these horrible things. Start to find some positive things to focus on, and it'll start moving it in a direction. Believe me,
I really don't care what she thinks
Right.
of me.
Well, I think
only
you do
care what she's
only
doing
because
to
you're
these kids.
bringing it up.
Oh,
So.
yeah, but
Yeah.
spend 20 minutes saying how much you don't.
Yeah. So just
Well, I
starting
hear
that
what you're
process
saying. Children.
is powerful. One more thing to wrap up before
Yes.
agreements. For folks that don't like to read, and there's a lot of people that are like, you know, I had to read all the way through school and I don't like to.
Right.
Those of you who have a library card, it's the books are on. That book is on tape, and it is probably the most powerful moving set of tapes. It's like the book itself is like 100 pages. So
It's not
the
a very big
tapes,
book.
the CDs, and you can just plug them into your car as you're driving to work. I'm telling you, it is life changing. Just the 4 agreements,
Right.
and it is probably one of the most fascinating books that I have listened to. I travel all over, not the United States, excuse me, Florida, and so I listen to books on tapes all the time. So those of you who are like, you know, I really want to read it, but I really don't like to read, that's probably the best thing to do, and I'm telling you, please do that.
It is one of my go-to books, and that's why we spent so much time on it. So
Yes.
it
I got a
helps
lot
you to
out of
put. It's very simple, and we like simple. We like simple,
Yes.
implementable wisdom. Yes, ma'am.
I like hanging out with people who implement the 4 agreements, just saying. Because if you can speak impeccably to me and I can speak impeccably to you, we've
Isn't
got
that
a good
awesome?
friendship.
Yeah, wait a minute, I
I
thought
agree.
you liked bitchy people.
No,
I
that's
saw that on
That's
your
me.
Facebook.
That's